So you're an actress and also went to OT school. Yes.
Yes, so that's how Daniel and I met. And it's been a couple years, but yes. Since I was little, I knew that I wanted to work with kids that had autism or special needs. And so I had it in my head, like, I'm gonna go to OT school. That was my plan my whole life. And but there was always a side of me that was more creative and artistic and liked to perform. And so back in maybe like 2014, I started doing theater, and I liked it. It was so much fun. But then I was like, I really want to be on a film set. It was always like a weird obsession that I had growing up. I loved watching behind the scenes on, like, if I would go to Blockbuster and get a DVD, I would like to watch the behind the scenes more than I like to watch the movie.
No, that's
So,
old school. You run a blockbuster.
yep, it's true.
When we were in grad school, like when I found out she did commercials, like the next day I was like, "Oh, your name is Hollywood. Like you're on out." That's all I called her.
I think you started that because then everybody in class called me that.
Yeah. So how do you even get into something like that? I mean, you show up for auditions one day or what?
So the way I did it, I was like, oh, I just want to be on set. Like, it would be so cool. So I started doing background acting. I guess I just Googled how to do it. And there's an agency in Los Angeles that just hires background actors for a bunch of movies and shows. And so I did that a couple times. And there's so much downtime on set. And you just talk to the other back who are also aspiring actors, and you learn, like, okay, so what I learned from them is you need to do short films, student films. You need to get great headshots, build up your resume, build up your IMDb, and then from there you can get a legitimate agent and manager, and they send you out on the big auditions, like, you name it, anything. That's where the good, like, coveted jobs come from,
Okay, yeah.
in a nutshell.
It's funny because I was watching a football game and I texted you. I was like, I think I just saw you on a commercial, like during
Yeah.
like a big time Monday night football game, and I was like, that was weird to see like someone I knew on TV. I was like, I think that was her, and you're like, yeah, that was me.
That's so cool.
I can say I
Yeah.
like know someone who's like low key famous.
No, not even. Not. But there are a couple commercials that play, and it's always cool to, like my friends when they're like, "I just saw you," so it's cool.
Like, have you done any like Lifetime or Hallmark, or is that like the next step you're looking towards?
So a year ago, actually, I did a short film a couple years ago. Nothing ever really came of it, but the writer and the producer of that short film then became a producer for a Hallmark movie, and he thought of me. So they auditioned me, and then they cast me in it. So actually, we shot that a year ago. Yeah, a year ago this month. And unfortunately, with the way things are right now, a lot of post production has been slowed down. Um, so we'll see what happens with it. I just randomly messaged the director recently, and the makeup artist, because pictures from a year ago started popping up on Facebook. Not really sure what's happening with that, but that movie was intended to be on Hallmark. So hopefully it works out. Sometimes you never know. I'll definitely let you guys know.
So, what is the hardest thing about acting?
Well, acting itself is very difficult. And I learn it more and more every day when I take classes and you're on set. Like, there's just so much that goes into it. It's not just standing there and, like, looking cute or whatever and saying lines. It's like you're memorizing all these lines. You have to stand in your perfect spot. If you're moving, you can't move too much because you'll move out of focus, because sometimes the camera's focus is so tight. So you really have to watch what you're doing physically. Something that a lot of people don't know is any physical movements you do in a scene, you have to match it every single time. we've all seen like continuity errors on TV, like that cup wasn't there, or like her hair is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It all has to match. And that's just acting itself. The business is your animal. Just getting your foot in the door is difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got to like build up your stats on IMDb, the rest of the portfolio. So then how do you personally choose like, oh, this is a project that I want to try to get into?
Right. It's different now because I was lucky enough to sign with an agent and manager this year, and I'm still so new. So with them, pretty much any audition they're sending me right now, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it because we have to make some headway somewhere. But when it's just me, I definitely make sure to read the entire script before I agree to anything, just so I'm fully aware of what's going to happen and what the story is. Sometimes, surprisingly, people don't tell you everything you need to know. So that would be the first way, reading the entire script and seeing if it's something you like and you're interested in, and if it's something you genuinely want to help create, because then you're excited and it's so fun and you care about the final product. So I guess two things: reading the whole script and genuinely liking it.
All right. So what are some of your favorite movies or shows that you've acted in?
Ooh, favorite one. So a lot of acting is not movies and TV shows. It's a lot of little commercials like you've seen. It's also like industrial commercials, and those are just used internally within companies for like training purposes, what have you. And a lot of what actors do sometimes are like pilot episodes. I'm sure you guys are well aware of that. Or doing proof of concepts. So writer or producer has a concept for a show, they want to sell it. They will hire a whole cast and crew to create it. And something that I did most recently was probably my favorite. It was so much fun. The character was just this hardcore, super tough girl, like guns. I got to do a fight scene.
Nice.
I loved that character. Yeah, I love that so much. So I think that one was my favorite so far, actually. And I did that like 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we got about 2 minutes left. So
Okay.
if someone wanted to watch your movies and really like see what you're about and what some of the films that you're in, how would they go about doing that?
That's the tricky one. Some of them are not available. A lot of movies never go anywhere. It costs a lot of money to get them produced and finished. Some of them are on like Vimeo, YouTube. Hopefully that Hallmark one comes out next year. But you can definitely see me on commercials running in San Diego locally. So yeah, mostly just Vimeo, and they're all like private. You'd have to probably pay like, I don't know, $5, but yeah.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm sorry to make this a long-winded answer. If you go on my IMDb, there's a section where it says external links, I think, and like official site, and there should be a link to the video to watch it if it's available.
Awesome. That's awesome. So we got 1 minute left, but it was so good catching up with you and just kind of like giving you a spotlight for people to get to know you and to actually get to see like what your work looks like.
Oh, final thing real quick.
Yeah.
If you could give any advice to somebody who's a budding actor or actress, what would you say?
Something that I'm learning more and more every day is that, and this is so cliche and corny, but it's so true. You have to be yourself. Whatever it is that makes you unique is what's going to get you cast. So yeah, you don't want to try to be like the next Vin Diesel because there's already a Vin Diesel, you know, or like The Rock. There's already The Rock, but you need to be you and whatever you are, whatever it is that's unique about you.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Thanks so much
Thank you so much
joining us.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you for having me.